Welcome back to All Things ETH. My name is Aaron, and on this channel we talk about all things Ethereum. We talk about projects, NFTs, play to earn, and price. And today we got another Axie Infinity video, guys. I hope you're not getting sick of this. I think most of you are Axie Infinity fans, especially my scholars. Thank you, all of you who are grinding for me in the Axie Infinity world metaverse. And just want to shout out to all you. Thank you so much. I want to talk about today the Twitter Spaces that went on just a couple days ago, and I'll post this tomorrow, which will be Saturday, which means the Spaces would be almost 3 days old. But I wanted to talk about the creators program that Axie Infinity is talking about implementing, and I wanted to go into the things that were talked about, the TLDR, if you will, the too long didn't read kind of synopsis of the Spaces, as it was a really great Spaces. There was a lot of people. We had Kagi Jan, we had Bryson. In fact, I wanted to make a drinking game mentioning every time the word Bryce was mentioned, we should have taken a shot, because it was many times, which is just funny. And then Jiho was there, and Psychout, and many of the other devs, along with many other prominent people in the Axie Infinity world, as well as tournament organizers. Guys, we had all kinds of people represented in the Axie Infinity metaverse. So things that came out of that, you know, the price that they're looking to up the price. Here's just the quick and easy overview of what they're proposing, and then I'll get into the new propositions or that were added to this in the Spaces. So the number one thing that they want to impress upon us is that it's very important for for Origins in particular to be marketed to other people, and so they want to give incentives to content creators in particular that bring more people into the Axie Infinity metaverse. Now, how they're doing that is they're adding 1% to the marketplace fee whenever you buy an Axie. They're moving the price, the Ronin chain fee from 4.25% up to 5.25%, which honestly, guys, I thought that was interesting. The reason why we have a percentage fee on those transactions is actually to give to the treasury. So the treasury is actually made up of earnings from the Axie Infinity marketplace. And so we're not necessarily taking away from that by giving people a percentage of that, but we are adding to it when we add a percentage to it. So one thing that's interesting, in my opinion, is what if you don't use a code when you check out from the marketplace? If you don't have a code, are you going to be charged that 1% on your transaction? Is if you're selling an Axie, as a breeder myself, I'm concerned about paying an extra percent every time that I sell an Axie. You know, it's not a huge margin loss. I mean, 1% of the transaction is not huge, but you're already paying 4.25. So 1% is even more, and you have to figure that into your profits. And to be honest, guys, the profit margins are just a lot lower than they used to be, and most of my Axies are purchased for over $100, some of them as high as $300. So in the floor right now is, you're talking about $30 is the floor, and most Axies are not selling above $100. So you have to think about margins, in particular when you're an investor like myself. So it's a little bit tough to swallow, to be honest, but I am also a content creator, so I do have the potential to use the code to my advantage and get paid back 1% on every single transaction that uses my code. Now, who's to say that anybody who's watching this is actually going to use my code? Because most of my audience, guys, I would think at least 50% to 80% are people who want to be scholars rather than those who are wanting to be investors. Now, please in the comments comment on this video if you're an investor, because I do think the majority of the people that are watching this are probably in the Philippines and are more likely to be a scholar than an investor. Nothing wrong with that. I really love talking to those who want to be scholars, because I do intend to grow my community. I think I love working with the community in that regard, and giving opportunity to people to make an income from play to earn games. What came up. So let me start there. That's the synopsis. We're potentially adding a percent, and that will happen on March 7th, in just a couple of days if it goes through without any hiccups. So on March 7th, they intend to put a 1% tax on the already 4.25% tax in the marketplace to bring to the Treasury. So what does that mean for the Treasury? The Treasury, if that code isn't used, will get an extra 1%. And that's actually great, because as a holder of AXS, or Axis tokens, as Jiho's calls them, Axis tokens, I will get potentially more staking rewards from the Treasury. So the Treasury isn't the access rewards currently for these staking rewards. There is a pool that it's being taken from it initially, and eventually they intend to distribute staking rewards from the Treasury. At least that was said on the spaces that was recorded. So a couple things that were brought up, and I wish I had taken notes because there was so much talked about. I remember Kagijan in particular saying that there should be some exclusivity to the program, and then many others like Bryson said that there shouldn't be exclusivity. So most people are wanting to have this code, and I think that was probably my first reaction, is like, how do I get this code, right? Because I do want 1%. I want to be able to capitalize on my the grind that I'm doing on a somewhat daily basis, almost daily basis. At least 3 times a week, if not 4 to 5. I'm recording a video and editing it and putting it up on YouTube, and creating a thumbnail, and doing all the all that goes in behind the scenes of putting in the keywords and the description, and making sure that if I say something's going to be in the description, that I put in the description. I'm giving out SLP as rewards for content, and if you don't know, I am giving away 100 SLP with every single video that I upload between now and the Origins launch. So I'm literally giving away my profits right now to grow the community, guys, and I really want to grow this channel. I think there will be opportunity for me and my scholars and anybody in my Discord if I do grow this channel. So please help me out by sharing this video with your friends and growing the channel, and also getting a chance to make some SLP, some essentially free SLP. Check out the description below for details on how to get involved there, or how to get a chance to win that. But some of the things that were brought up: exclusivity versus non-exclusivity. Well, I think everybody should have this code. I do think there's more value to having everybody who's a Ronin account opener to have a code, right? I think it should be just included with your Ronin wallet, that you get a code, a creator's code, and you can't use your own code. I think that would be just silly, obviously, if you could use your own code when checking out. But if there's obviously ways around that. You could have 2 Ronin wallets. You could have one code for one Ronin wallet and another for the one that you buy Axies with, and you could essentially be getting your own rewards. But I do think they're going to look into who's a creator, who's not, and certainly those who are starting the game at least won't. If they can't use their own code initially, they're not going to game the system, and they'll want to essentially support whoever that they get the referral code from, right? I do think there should be some sort of referral, incentive to join as well. I mean, I do think things like Coinbase do a great job of giving away $10 in Bitcoin to not only the person who gives you the code, but you yourself who starts an account. And I think if you buy $100 worth in Axies, that would be interesting to get a $10 back in SLP or wrapped ETH or RON tokens in particular. I think RON would be a great choice just because of the need for using RON on the chain. Other things that were brought up, what if there's different tiers of this of these codes. So you get a base tier code when you start, and it gives you very limited rewards, maybe, you know, less than 1% of your of that fee is given to you. Perhaps next level gets, you know, 0.5% of that fee, or you know, or half the 1% of the fee, or and then tier 3 gets the full 1%. Other people had mentioned, you know, why up the percentage of what is taken in the marketplace when it really isn't taking away necessarily from the treasury, but it's slowing down the add to the treasury. And I think that's probably the one that I like the most, and that was brought up by a couple of users and creators themselves, you know, that had backlash from their communities about why are we raising fees when we are trying to incentivize people to use the marketplace. And I do think this is really super valid, guys, because in the in-between right now, you know, why are we upping the fees of the marketplace on March 7th when we haven't even launched the Origins gameplay yet? Well, the codes aren't going to come out on March 7th, I don't think. We're not going to, you know, we're going to be adding to the treasury more than ever. And for those who aren't access holders, why penalize them, you know, for using the marketplace in a time when it's a little bit unsure, right? So there's uncertainty and doubt. There's some FUD in the Axie Infinity world, along with the crypto world, with, you know, what's going on globally. But I do think it's a little premature to start the tax, the 1% extra tax on top of what's already been taxed, to make it harder even for more people to breed. And this is a big issue right now because there's far less breeding going on. The burn rates have shrunk to very, very little. I mean, the burn to mint ratios are getting better because there's less being minted as far as SLP, but the burn rate has shrunk immensely, guys, from where it was, and I think it's just people waiting. I think a lot of people are waiting to see if you know, what's going to be the best breeds for Ronin, but also how big is Ronin going to get? Or sorry, I'm talking about Origins. So how big is Origins going to get? What are the right cards and what body parts and what axes are going to be best in Origins? And I think a lot of the, you know, the breeders, not myself included, I've been breeding the whole time, but I think there's going to be an uptick in breeding when we know what the meta is going to be for Origins, and we get to see how many people come into the marketplace or come into the ecosystem or metaverse with that change. So a couple other things. There was mentioned, I wish I had notes, guys. Sorry, I didn't write them down, but just a lot of good content around why and how, and there was some mention of maybe pooling that 1% instead of giving everybody, you know, 1% if their code was used, but instead pooling all the resources that were made for the month and then distributing them to the content creators equally. Well, you know, that's, in my opinion, that's socialism. So whether or not you like socialism, that's up to you. But I think, you know, Kagijan in particularly hated that idea because he's like, those who are going to work their butts off to make content, who are really, really grinding it out, want to have, you know, a fair share, if you will, of that pool, and not just have someone who makes one video a month get more than someone like myself who makes, you know, 3 to 4 a week. So I think that's more likely to be the case. I think that's probably the direction that, you know, the keeping it fair, giving people one-to-one value. But the interesting on top of that is if no code is used, maybe we can keep the 1% of the no code users and pool that, and then maybe distribute that as well, and maybe base it on how many people, how many code usage you got as well. And so maybe distributing the pool in a pie sort of way, not where equal pieces are given away, but with you know, quantity of code usage or something like that. So I thought that was really interesting. There was a couple people that spoke, legalese so much, or it's almost like property law, that had some really interesting ideas, and I applaud them for talking, guys. And man, it really went over my head in a couple cases where people were talking about essentially equity and different interest rates and just crazy much more financial terms and law terms. But some of the things that came out of it were really interesting, guys, and I do recommend that you go listen to it yourself if you're interested. But I do think they're going to keep the 1% fee. I don't think that's going to go away. They could negate the 1% fee and just give 1% of the 4.25% away. That would be, I think, give more incentive to breeders, and that to continue to breed with the profit margins that are currently available, and then maybe even get some back if they're content creators themselves. There was interest from tournament people who, whether they're equally weighted or not, because they don't have as much public personas, like they're not YouTubers, they're not TikTokers, right? They're organizers of events. Some people who are content creators of art or bots, or something like gonna make an extension for Google. If those people are going to have the same traction with the method of using a code at checkout, I think that's really interesting. In fact, I question, is that the best place to use the code? I think maybe the place to use the code is with opening a new Ronin wallet, right? Instead of and making sure that Ronin wallet purchases some, instead of having the fee come at the marketplace where you may in fact not think to put in a code, or may not have recently been influenced by the person that brought you into the game. So like right with Origins, we're going to have a free to play version. So what if your influencer brings you into the free to play and then doesn't get the credit for it because when you purchase the Axies they use either no code at all or somebody else's code? Well, I think there should be some sort of incentive to just bring people into the metaverse to begin with. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I would love to hear what you had to say, but I think I've covered the majority of subjects, or at least the ones that mattered to me the most, and I would love to hear what mattered to you the most. Again, we're giving away 100 SLP with every single video that I upload between now and the Origins launch, and I do intend to give away more than that in consecutive videos, guys, so look out for those. I will give 200 away. I will give I even want, I'm hesitant to say it, but I think I'd like to give at least half an access, or maybe even a full access away. Maybe if we hit 2,000 subs by the time Origin launches, I can do that. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and God bless.